Hello and welcome to Market House, the podcast where we talk all things Disney. My name's Caleb.
And I'm Caitlin.
And this week we talk about Fantasmic returning,
Club 33 movie,
and our Disneyland trip report. Let's dive in. All right, this is episode number 134.
Yeah, welcome back as always, everybody.
Welcome back. Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Again, it weirds me out to say it because it's not really, we're supposed to be honoring folks that have, fallen in either active duty or veterans. So yes, honoring those folks, but also you get a 3-day weekend. So it's a very weird, conflicting weekend. But I'm happy to have a day off.
Yes.
And again, honoring those people and remembering why we're celebrating this day.
Right.
But hopefully you are actively enjoying your 3-day weekend or enjoyed it. Past tense if you're listening later. But again, we don't have a ton of plans. I think over the weekend we'll get together with family, do some barbecue stuff.
Yeah.
And then on Monday we're celebrating a friend who has graduated from law school.
Which is crazy.
Huge accomplishment. That is a big deal. So we cannot wait to celebrate with him with some food and cake and all the good stuff. But other than that, I mean, it's been a pretty good week.
You had a great week.
So it's not the usual answer of us saying we hung around home, we did it. Other than that, I mean, we did do a big thing called a Disneyland trip.
We did.
It came and went.
You guys, I can't wait to get into it. I literally have been telling Caleb all week, I'm so excited to record this episode.
Yeah.
It went so well.
We get to relive it. Let's not spoil anything. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Again, I'll preface this by saying we're going to split it up. The first recording, what you're hearing now, is going to be our travel day and our first day down in downtown Disney. Next week's episode is going to cover the actual park days.
Yes.
So we want to give all this the proper amount of time. We can talk about the prep that went into this trip. Hopefully that helps you because, again, this is our first trip with a baby. She's 6 months old. And so that brings a whole layer of complexity.
Yeah, and we realized some tips and tricks along the way. So hopefully, as Caleb mentioned, that will be helpful to you.
Yes, but before we dive in, let's talk about Patreon. Consider joining us over there. It would be such an awesome thing to do. It's markethousepodcast.com/support. Again, a great way to support the show. It's like a price of a coffee every month. Again, it goes a long way with us. We appreciate all of our supporters over there. Thank you so much for doing that. And again, we reinvest all that money right back into the show. There's software involved. There's other stuff. There's new equipment that we'd love to buy eventually. And, we can use that kind of money to pour right back into the show.
Right.
Make it better for you guys every single week. Also, please consider leaving a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, both a huge, huge help to the show. Also, please consider sharing this episode with a friend. If you've got a friend that's going on a Disney trip pretty soon here, hopefully this stuff helps them plan their upcoming trip.
Yes, and if you do leave a 5-star rating over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please let us know because it doesn't tell us who does that.
Yeah, the ratings it doesn't tell us. The reviews they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, every time we get a rating that comes in, I'm always get so excited, but I have no one to thank. So if you do leave one, please let us know.
Yeah, let us know. All right, let's get into that news.
All right, first up, we have some fantastic news, or should I say Fantasmic news?
Heyo.
So dumb.
Rim shot.
For those who don't know, Fantasmic has been gone for quite some time, and it is finally returned. So as you're listening to this episode on Monday or throughout the week, Fantasmic has just returned on Friday, May 24th. We're hoping that it went well. It's currently going on as we speak.
Yeah.
So
we did see some previews, though.
Yes,
So we did see some sneak peek photos. I don't think I saw in a video. Did you see video?
Well, I mean, Disney put up little videos on Instagram.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
But I think we saw some preview photos, and I think fans are a little disappointed. Again, we can't speak. We have not seen it yet, but I think what we've seen, I understand some of the disappointment. So if you don't know this already, Fantasmic, why it closed in the first place, there was this big dragon. I think his nickname was Murphy, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
I think they called him Murphy the Dragon. I don't know. Anyways, he was this big dragon that would come up at the finale. Mickey fights him. He defeats him. Actually, it's her, I guess, right? Because it's Maleficent. Sorry, she. So Mickey defeats her. Pew, 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 pew. And then the dragon goes down and we're like, Mickey's awesome.
Yeah.
But this poor dragon burst into flames during this last show and was destroyed, of course. Not fireproof. And so they said, hey, we're shutting the show down. We're going to figure out what we're going to do. So it has come back, and it has come back with not a dragon, but just Maleficent, like really tall, 35 feet into the air. So this usually wouldn't be a disappointment. I'd be like, that's kind of cool as a human up there, like, super high in the air, nearly 4 stories in the sky. Yeah. But what's disappointing is that was the B mode for the previous show. So what that means is when the dragon wasn't properly working, Maleficent would do that anyway. So this is not new. They're actually just going a step backwards, if that makes sense.
Right. And the biggest complaint that I've seen so far is that people are kind of just frustrated that it was closed for so long.
And they just got that.
They didn't bring anything new back.
Yeah.
Again, I am kind of in the place of like, I didn't see Fantasmic, and I don't love Fantasmic for just Maleficent at the end. I love the whole show.
Sure.
So me personally, I could care less, honestly.
And Disney fans are really good at complaining about stuff.
Yes. Which again, if you do care, that's totally fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be upset, but at the same time, I'm just happy that they brought the show back because there are some other things that they did bring back from the old one.
They did. So on the sailing ship Columbia, it was, when it closed down, Pirates of the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. That was an awesome scene. I loved it.
Yeah.
Cannons going off. You've got Jack Sparrow up there. You've got, what are their names?
Barbossa?
No. The main characters. You love them. We saw Orlando Bloom. What's his character's name?
Oh, gosh.
You love those movies.
Swan.
You watch them all the time.
No, Elizabeth Swan. And, oh my gosh.
Caitlin.
I am so frustrated
You're not a
with
true
myself
fan.
right now. Wait, hold on here.
We just had a whole day.
Will Turner.
Will Turner. So anyways, I think they were all, right? They were on the ship.
I don't know.
Anyways.
All I know is Jack was on there and Elizabeth Swan.
Yeah, so great Pirates of the Caribbean bit, but they are going back to the OG scene, and that is Peter Pan.
Which I prefer, honestly.
Yeah, I prefer as well.
Yeah.
And then the Lost Boys, I think that's a new addition. The Lost Boys are featured on the ship as well. So that's fun.
Awesome.
Again, we're excited that Fantasmic back. I am excited that it's back. I don't know if the finale is fantastic. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I think it'll be cool.
I know there's quite a few of you there tonight. So if you have gone this past week or you're going soon, let us know how you like it.
Yeah, let us know what you think of the changes or honestly the reversion, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for all those dining packages.
Oh,
of course,
yes.
Being introduced for Fantasmic.
It's back.
It's back.
Next up, we've got some very exclusive news.
Wow.
Let me tell you why.
Wow.
Club 33 is getting a movie.
This is weird.
This is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Darren Lemke, who's the writer of Goosebumps and Shazam, the DC hit, and Sean Levy, director of the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine movie, that looks really good actually, are heading this project up. This is from The Hollywood Reporter. The story centers on a young, aspiring detective who receives a mysterious invite to the highly secretive Club 33. In this case, it's a magical and exclusive dining club whose members are the greatest and most iconic figures from across history. When a murder is committed on the premises, the patrons look to the young detective to solve it. It sounds kind of interesting. I don't know why it has to take place in Club 33, though. Like, it's not a murder mystery spot.
And I don't really get the correlation of doing a murder with Club 33.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's very awkward.
So they're saying it's going to be like Clue, which is a classic movie. So I don't know. I'm not going to bash on it too much. We haven't seen, this is very early development. We'll see what happens. You see the cast in it and all that stuff. But very early on, it sounds somewhat interesting. It has piqued my interest. I'm not sure if this is going to be a theatrical release. I'm assuming with the people that are connected to it, it seems pretty big budget and all that good stuff. So they'll want to get some return on their investment with tickets, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it'll be a straight to Disney Plus film.
This feels like something that Owen Wilson would be a part of.
I don't know if that's a positive thing or a negative.
I mean, I love him. I don't know.
That's so mean.
Every time I think of like this type of thing, I'm like, that's Owen Wilson.
Yeah. I can see Owen Wilson being in it. I
don't
love
know.
Owen Wilson.
How awesome would it be if like Daniel Craig was in it? Or like William Dafoe.
It's Willem Dafoe. Slapped an eye in there. No, actually a buddy of mine went to Hawaii and saw Owen Wilson at a pizza spot. Wow. Apparently he has a house right down the road from the pizza spot.
That's great.
If you want to know what that spot is,
let me
know. Owen Wilson eating pizza in Maui. So yeah, interesting. I will definitely see it, but Club 33 movie coming your way.
All right, for our final news story, we have a delicious new treat coming to the Disneyland Resort, and I'm so bummed that this was not there when we were there.
We just missed it.
I know. So Trader Sam's is getting a new Matterhorn Dole Whip in June. This is a coconut pineapple Dole Whip topped with coconut shavings mixed with silver and blue edible glitter in a Matterhorn cup. So this is like a cup that you can actually take home.
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay.
I'm almost positive.
I don't know.
I saw someone talking about it on Instagram, like it's the souvenir cup.
Maybe.
Some people take home the plastic ones.
So does
I
that
don't
mean
know.
it's going to be $22?
Probably, but coconut and pineapple, yum.
It sounds pretty good, except you were complaining about coconut today. I don't want to hear it.
Okay, totally off
So
topic.
we busted out a gluten-free treat. We went to Whole Foods Nugget. Okay, so that is a Sacramento area grocery store.
Yes.
I was trying to think of the word. It's a store where you buy groceries. So it's a kind of a health foods. It's nice. I like it a lot. And
What are you doing?
I don't know if that's related to anything. I like it, guys. I know you wanted to hear my review on this grocery store. Anyways, so we went to this Nugget location and we found a gluten-free chocolate chip ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
A chocolate chip cookie ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds delicious.
Right?
There are some other ones we buy once in a while. It's a treat. We make it a treat. So once every couple of months we'll buy one. This one, it was just screaming our name. I mean, it looks so good.
It
So we
looks
bought
great.
it, a little expensive. Brought it home, and we split it today. And I was loving it. It had a little bit of, because it was coconut ice cream.
It's coconut based. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dairy free. It was delish. Caitlin was bashing it because it tasted too much like coconut.
My whole thing is like, there's nothing wrong with coconut, but if you're gonna have a coconut ice cream sandwich, no.
Okay,
Vanilla.
whatever. Anyways, I don't want to hear you say, "Oh, this sounds delicious," because you just bashed on it earlier
This
today.
does because it doesn't have chocolate chips in it. It is just coconut and pineapple dollop, which sounds amazing. And again, Disney is offering this for their celebrating Matterhorn's 65th anniversary. Can you believe it's been 65 years?
I can believe it.
I know.
Because it has been 65 years.
I know.
like we were around for it. Can you believe it's already been 65 years?
This sounds absolutely delicious. So if you are going to be at the Disneyland Resort in June, please let us know if you love this. It looks really cute and fun and delicious. And again, with the hot weather coming, it'll be great.
All right. You know what that music means. It is time for Disney Trivia. We're back.
Unfortunately, we're probably not going to do very well.
It has been weeks since we've done the Disney Trivia segment. We have done a Disney Trivia episode. Did not go well.
No.
We were pretty bad.
Right.
We'll see if we do better this time around with some trivia.
All right.
Let's dive in. All right, Miss Caitlin, are you ready for your first question?
I am.
What is the shortest Disney feature film? This is a multiple choice question.
Okay.
Is it Lady and the Tramp? Is it Dumbo, Bambi, or The Emperor's New Groove?
Ooh, I'm going to say Bambi.
Is that your final answer? The shortest Disney feature film.
Okay, I'm going to say The Emperor's New Groove.
Incorrect. Both are incorrect. It is Dumbo.
Dumbo?
Clocking in at 64 minutes long.
Oh my gosh, that's super
It's
short.
short,
No way.
right? Yeah.
That's a sad movie.
Yes, it is a sad movie.
Okay.
Actually, won't spoil it. I was going to say something. Dumbo has a special place in our hearts
It does.
now.
Don't say anything yet.
I won't say anything. We'll save that for next week. Next question is, who is saying this to whom in a major Pixar movie? This is the quote. You and I are a team. There is nothing more important than our friendship.
Woody.
Pixar movie. It is
Woody
not
to
Woody.
Buzz.
It is not Woody to Buzz. I will give you one more guess. You and I are a team. There is nothing more important than our friendship.
Is it Dory and Carl?
It is not Dory and Carl.
It's
his name?
It's Carl, right?
No, it's not Carl. His wife's name is Coral, and his name is Marlin. Carl? We just watched it like 3 days ago. What does it matter with you?
Thinking of
There was a crossover movie we missed.
I don't know.
It's called Finding Carl. He gets lost in the ocean, and Dory finds him. No, it is Mike Tassoli in Monsters, Inc.
Gosh.
You got both wrong, girl.
Okay, sorry. Well, let's see how well you do. Ready?
Okay, here we go.
Okay, first question. What is the only Disney park that does not have an It's a Small World ride?
Oh, that's a good one. The only Disney park that does not have a Small World. Shoot.
Another
Okay,
very
so
special ride.
Both U.S. parks have one. We've been on both. The Tokyo has one, I believe. Let me think here. I'm gonna go Shanghai.
That's correct.
Really?
Yeah.
That was an absolute guess.
Wow, lucky. Okay,
All right,
great
I'll
job.
take it.
Okay, last question. In The Little Mermaid, what item does Ursula use to capture Ariel's voice?
In the Little what item?
Yes.
To capture a mirror. No, not a mirror.
Mm-mm.
A little jar. Well, that's what we just went on the ride, and the little souls are in the jar.
Honey, her voice,
Oh,
not her soul.
Voice. I'm gonna say, oh gosh, I don't know. A hairbrush.
Close. A shell necklace.
I'm gonna take it. I think it was a hairbrush. A dingle hopper.
A dingle hopper. That was close.
Gosh dang it. Okay,
Yeah.
I got one for
You won.
2. I win.
You won. Great job. That was awesome.
What do I get?
Kiss on the cheek.
Woo! That's awesome. Okay, if you won at home, you also get a kiss on the cheek from your loved one. Caitlin gave me the weirdest look of like, what are you saying?
I know.
From your loved one. Good grief. All right, thanks for joining us for yet another edition of Disney Trivia. Hope you did well. All right, and that brings us to our main segment of this week's episode, and that is our Disneyland trip report.
Yes.
We are back with the trip reports. It has been a year.
It's been a while.
It has been, well, I guess not a full year, but it's been almost a year since we've been on a Disney trip.
I know.
Our last was July of last year.
Yes.
That was our baby moon, our Disney cruise.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been a year since we've gone to Disneyland because we have a little one now. So we just got back. It's been a few days,
Mm-hmm.
and it was our first trip with Maddie. And if you don't know who Maddie is, that is our 6-month-old, and we are new parents. So this is all new.
Yeah.
It's all brand spanking new to us. So it's fresh. It is fresh in our minds. It is a fresh experience. So we cannot wait to dive in and tell you more about it. Again, like I mentioned before, we are covering the travel day and our downtown Disney day. We will cover the park days next week. So you got to wait for that.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive in. So let's kick off the episode with some of the prep and packing that was involved for this Disneyland trip. And let me tell you, this is the most I've packed and prepped in my life.
Yeah.
Caitlin, I'm going to give all the credit to her. I helped very little. She did 99% of it, and it was a weeks long process.
Yes.
It was nuts.
Mhm.
And there was a multi-day packing session. There were many bags. I cannot believe we fit them in all the cars that were involved in this trip.
Seriously.
On the way to the airport, and I'm surprised that the plane allowed us to bring this many
Yeah.
bags on. But let's talk about what that all looked like.
Yeah. It was okay. So first off, as Caleb mentioned, this was a multi-day process. If you've been here for a long time, you've been listening and basically hearing how I have created so many lists. I have watched countless videos of prepping and packing and how to take a little one to Disneyland. I've been talking to our friends. Basically, I prepared for every situation that could possibly happen because I wanted to be prepared.
Yeah. Nuclear attack, covered. Tornado hitting Disneyland, covered.
Literally. It
Rain.
Yeah, it was crazy. And again, it was one of those things where it wasn't, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't feel like it was a ton of extra fluff. It was just more of like, we just had to bring a ton of stuff with a baby.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we maybe got quantity of things wrong. We probably overpacked on like the amount of the things we brought. We used
Right.
everything we brought. It's just I think we
we brought too many diapers.
we brought double of everything.
Yeah.
So Caitlin brought, I'm not going to spoil whatever, but you brought like changing pad things that you can
Yeah.
put down for the baby. We brought 100 of those. It was not necessary.
Yeah.
Diapers literally brought double of what we needed.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to kind of narrow that down and figure out what to do next. We'll know for next time.
Yeah.
You never know. But yes, I think what we used all of it, or what we brought. But yes, we brought way too much.
Yeah. So there's a couple things that I want to dive into that were our favorites, things that I would highly recommend to you guys. But before we do, again, obviously the basics of our clothes and all that kind of stuff, we're not going to dive into each and every single thing that we packed.
This day I brought shorts and I brought socks.
Yeah. But obviously what we're not used to packing is obviously for little baby. So that was kind of tricky just to make sure, because again, when you're in your routine and when you're home and you have your little one, it's just in your mind. Like, you're not thinking of like a week's worth of clothes for the baby.
Sure.
And you're not thinking, oh my gosh, okay, well, if there's an accident or if she has like drool all over her, like just bringing extra outfits.
Yeah. And let me preface this by saying this will maybe add some more context and you'll maybe understand a little bit more where our headspace was. We've got a really weird thing, and this is maybe unique to us. You may feel the same way. We were like super stressed about, we did not want to do laundry at the hotel. So Caitlin does not like using washer and dryers that aren't ours.
Yeah.
And so we had to bring Maddie's teething.
Yeah.
So she is just slobbering everywhere, and she'll like slobber through a shirt. She'll slobber through a bib.
Yeah.
You name it. It will be covered in slobber in about an hour. So we had to bring enough to have multiple replacements throughout the day
Yeah.
times 5.
But it worked.
Caitlin, it was nuts.
Yeah,
It was so many.
There's
so many clothes and so many burp cloths.
clothes?
And
There wasn't a ton of clothes.
but like burp cloths and stuff. It was a lot.
Yeah, again, so my whole thing is there's nothing wrong if you use the
No. And I
washer and
think
dryers.
give us a year and I think you'll be using
Yeah,
it.
my whole thing with that is that like we have very specific soap that we use for her,
That's
and I'm
true.
like,
You
it's
don't
just
know
in
the
my head.
residue that was in there.
Yeah, first time parent over here, everyone knows what I'm talking about.
That's true.
So it's one of those things where yes, and then we don't like her basically sitting in like the bib that's just like covered in like drool all day. It's not my favorite. But again, you guys do you. We're gonna do us. This
I know.
is how we do
We're
it.
talking about what we did. Don't worry about it.
Yes, so I did bring a few, and again, it was great because what I'll mention, I did bring kind of like a trash bag for like our hotel room with the restroom area. I had that in there, kind of hanging on like a towel hook, and basically at the end of the day, I let them all dry like her bibs and everything, so they weren't like just sitting for a week while we were there wet.
Yeah.
And then I'd put them into the trash bag to kind of keep them out of the way. But little things like that where you're like, okay, you got to account for that, like just hats, because again, while we were there, the weather was like all over the place. It was kind of cool in the mornings. It was overcast. It would randomly warm up and then it would just tank at night. So again, you're not on your normal routines. You're just planning that with the baby. I don't know if she's cold. She's not walking around like us. So again,
yes, a lot of variables. It was very mild weather, so that was a awesome thing about the trip.
Amazing.
First 2 days were overcast and like 72. The
Yeah.
last day was sunny and the warmest day at like 75.
Yeah.
And so it did get a little toasty if you're in the sun. Other than that, super mild weather, so that was awesome. But let's dive into some of your favorite things that you brought.
Yes. So first up, number one, I talked about this before, was we brought her like a little bucket hat. It was literally perfect. She didn't have any problems keeping it on. It kept the sun out of her face. It was one of those where like you could just kind of bend the tips of it. And it was great. I loved it. It was comfy on her. Next thing we did brought, which we did discuss this prior to this episode, was we did end up bringing a travel car seat because we did take Uber, which we will discuss. We took a travel stroller, which highly, highly, highly recommend if you have a heavy like normal stroller and you do have the ability to get a travel stroller, I would recommend, because having a lighter load and carrying that around was so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. It folds down to a crazy size. I can maybe throw it in the episode description what we have. It's the Ergo Baby Metro Plus.
It like folds up so quickly.
It's like a backpack size. So it's pretty crazy. And then it folds out to a pretty awesome size stroller. Your kid's not going to be all cramped in there. And it reclines all the way flat.
Yeah,
so they can
nice.
They can take a nap in it, which is pretty awesome. So anyways, brought the travel stroller, and then we also brought a pack and play. Thanks to you guys. We asked you, do we use the hotel ones? Most of you recommended, no. Bring your own pack and play. You know it's clean. You know you've treated it well, and your baby's comfortable in it. So we did that.
Highly recommend. That was a really great move, and there was plenty of space in the hotel room for it.
Yes.
Which I really liked.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Next up, as Caleb did mention a couple minutes ago, I did bring table mats for the tables for like dining. We didn't use them as much, and that was my fault because I forgot to put them in the diaper bag.
Yeah.
They were back in the room. We did use them a couple times throughout the trip, and it was just really nice because when Maddie was sitting on our laps when we were at the tables, like she could just play around. Like there was like little animals that she would look at and just play with. And it's nice being that she has like a little clean space because she is in that time where everything is just in her mouth. Like she's putting her hands in her mouth and the tables.
Yeah, my hand's in her mouth. She'll grab your hand and chomp on it because she's teething. But I will say, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here and tell you that because we didn't bring the table mats and we forgot them, we did use a ton of alcohol wipes. So Caitlin bought these Honest ones.
Yes.
And they're like close to set. I know there's supposed to be a number. It's pretty close to what it's like recommended to kill all the germs.
Yeah.
I think they probably keep it down a little bit so it's not like burnt. If a wipe your kid with it doesn't like burn their eyes.
Yeah,
it's
it's meant for like being able to use on skin and stuff.
Yeah. So anyways, brought these with us and we wiped everything down. I think it came a pack of 60. We used an entire pack while we were there.
Yeah.
If not a little more. Wiping everything down, we knew it was safe for her. So that was awesome. So if we went to a restaurant, we'd wipe the table down and she could play on it.
Yeah.
And have peace of mind.
Very handy.
Next up, you brought these really cool things. I'll let you explain what they look like. They are disposable diaper pails.
Yes.
They were so stinking cool. And I think someone asked about them, right?
Yes, a couple people asked on Instagram kind of what they were because, again, a lot of people just use like a lot of the hotels have like little diaper genies.
Yeah, they'll give you the genies, but they are super probably beat up. They're very used, and so they don't have a really good seal anymore.
Right.
When you first buy them, they're amazing, right? But then eventually over time, after getting beat up, they probably start to crack a little bit, and it lets out a lot of stink, and I don't want to smell dirty diapers throughout the day.
No. So again, these come in a pack of 3. They're on Amazon. Believe the brand is it Munchkin?
Yeah.
They're very inexpensive, but again, all you do is, like Caleb mentioned, they come flat. You just pull them out, and simply when you're putting a diaper and you just pull the tab, it's almost like a sticky sticker. You just push it through like these little silicone things, and literally no smell,
No
like
smell
at all. It was
And
amazing.
Had that thing filled with like, it claims it fits 30 diapers. Absolutely no way. If your kid's a newborn and you could maybe smush them in a hydraulic press,
Yes.
you'll get 30 diapers in there.
Yeah.
It maybe fit like 10 to 15, but it was impressive.
It was really
No,
great.
more than that. Sorry, 15 to 15.
Yeah.
15 to 20.
It just depends on
Not
what size
10.
they're wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty flippin' amazing. It did not smell at all. We had them in the bathroom, and I can tell you they did not smell. It was
Yeah.
pretty awesome. So that is worth every single penny, and they're very cheap, like Caitlin mentioned. Also, you brought some changing mats, and
Yes.
you used the heck out of these things.
Yes, so these were great. And again, a lot of you are like, you brought a changing pad. No, not a pad. These are like little disposable like changing pads that you can use. Like if you're, like for example, if you're on the airplane or if you're in a place that doesn't have a changing area,
Yeah.
and you don't want to put like your changing mat like on the ground.
They're little like foam. I don't even know how to explain it. They're like probably filled with some kind of like.
Think of
I
like
don't
the
know.
puppy. Like
Yeah, exactly. But they're thicker, and they don't have. Oh, so I was going to use puppy pads.
yes,
I did some research. I did not know this. Some of them have like a chemical in them to encourage dogs to go to the bathroom on them.
yes,
I don't want that on my child. And
No.
I didn't know that they did that. So we bought human specific ones for
Yes.
babies. These were a little pricey. These are the ones I was like, yeesh, I'm kind of having a hard time buying these. I think they were
Yes.
$30 or $40.
And the one thing that I would say about these is, I don't know, are we going to link this stuff?
Yeah, we can, if you guys are interested, yes.
You should reach out. Either I'll put it on
Yeah,
stories
reach
or
out
just
to us.
DM us and
Yeah.
I'll send you the link. The only thing I would mention is that these were very expensive. If you have a, I would say older than like 4 months, I wouldn't really recommend these because they're quite small. If you have a little tiny
Yeah,
baby.
you had to double up a lot.
Yes, which is fine. They were great, but again, they don't seal together. So when Maddie was moving around, like during a diaper change, like the pads are like separating.
Okay.
But I would recommend just in general because, which we'll get into in a later episode with like the diaper care centers, the baby care centers at
Yeah.
Disney. A lot of the bathrooms when we didn't use those diaper care centers were disgusting.
Yeah.
Like we'll get into that later. So I did use a couple of them and they were on hand and I was very thankful to have them. So next up, we did, I did touch on this a while back, but just I briefly wanted to touch again, having organizational pouches for a diaper bag to put like your burp cloths, your bibs, your toys, whatever it might be is very, very like, I would say helpful, especially when you're in Disneyland and you have like one hand to like pull something out.
Yeah.
There's not toys flying everywhere. There's not diapers going everywhere. Cause again, if you're like us, the diaper bag was filled with stuff and just having that organization is definitely key.
It was nice. And they're like Disney themed and stuff. So those are super
Yeah,
fun. And
yeah.
Maddie, it seconds as a toy.
It does.
Because Maddie would stare at this. She would scratch at it. She would move it around. So she loves those little pouches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we brought a stroller fan. This was absolutely clutch. You can find these all over Amazon, all over Target.com, all the good stuff. You're not sponsored by Target. I wish we were.
Yeah.
We spent enough to be sponsored by them. But it was a stroller fan. It was like $20. USB charged, and it was nuts. It was so good. It was so good. It like surprised me.
Yeah.
We're walking around the day that it was pretty warm outside. I put the stroller fan on, and later when we checked on Maddie, I just put my hand in there. Her like little legs were so cold. It was almost
Not like
working
a bad
too well.
way,
No,
yeah.
no, it was almost working too well.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're probably a little chilly. So these things are amazing. You already know about these things. I would buy like 3 for the family.
Yeah.
You could, they have these little bendable arms on them, so you could put on the stroller
Mhm.
bar. And so we had that. Honestly, you could point one to you if you're walking through the park. I would buy a few.
And it was great too, which I really appreciated because the one that we have, she can't get like her fingers or toes or anything in that. So once she's older and can like reach it,
Sure.
we don't have to worry about that.
No,
which was
it's all
nice.
covered up. So
Yes. Next up, following the stroller fan, we had a stroller like sunshade, which I wanted you to touch on because this was a lifesaver at the park.
Yeah, so this was like weeks of searching, not gonna lie. I ordered a few on Amazon. They did not work. It's hard to explain. So basically this one had elastic and it was like a net system. So it would entirely encompass where she sat. So you would use the stroller sunshade that's already there, use some the elastic to stick on there. Does that make sense?
So basically what you would do is you would take like this like stretchy material, almost think of like a bug net for your stroller.
Yeah.
You'd pull it from the sunshade down to where the like baby's feet are, like, and wrap it around the stroller.
So they're totally covered by this, like we called it the orb, and it was like this net covering.
Yeah.
And it had this big zipper system and some
the middle.
structure, so it
Mhm.
like wasn't on the baby. You could unzip it and access her and give her toys and stuff, zip it back up, and then it had like this black sunshade material that you can flap down, and it would completely cover her.
Mhm.
Now, you may be saying, okay, in 100-degree heat, that's not smart because they'll just bake them because of the sun and stuff. Yes, that is true, but we had a fan in there, and then we would only do it for like very short stretches of time. So like
Yeah.
if the sun was setting and the stroller shades only work so well.
Right.
If the sun's at a certain angle, it's going to shoot in their face no matter what.
Right.
This thing would completely block it. So Maddie didn't have to worry, we didn't have to worry about her eyes getting burned out of her,
Yeah. And again, before you guys were like, oh my gosh, these people are first-time parents, the UV was like extreme. It was like 11 when we were there.
Yeah.
So.
Anaheim is like no joke. Their sun
Yeah.
is literally no joke. I think Caitlin got a tiny bit burned, and it was overcast 2 days out of 3.
It was crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah. And then, okay, so lastly, I did want to touch on, we did bring a travel bottle rack for the bottles and a brush, which was absolutely amazing because
Clutch.
again, when you don't think about like, oh, we don't have our little machine that cleans everything.
Or dishwasher.
We don't have any of that. So having that on hand was really nice. And then again, I wanted to touch on one thing because this was like the highlight of the toys for the trip. My mother-in-law gave Maddie like these little spinny suction toys, which a ton of you recommended to us on Instagram. Highly, highly recommend if you were
awesome.
taking kiddos. Not only can you wipe them down, but you literally can have them on the plane. If they fall out of the thing, they're like super light. The stroller, like whatever it is, they stick on everything. So highly, highly recommend.
Highly recommend. By the end of the trip, she got pretty confident with it and would grab it and smack anything with it.
Yes.
So we were at breakfast and she was like playing the drums on the table. So we did have to go, Maddie, we don't smack things. She's getting to the age where she can do that. So she's like, whack, whack, whack. And I was like, okay, that's enough. We're not going to do that. So awesome, though. They're very good toys. Kept her entertained for hours.
Mhm.
Okay, let's dive into travel. Now that we talked about the prep and the packing and all the items we love, let's talk about the actual meat of the story, the traveling. So we live in Sacramento, if you don't already know this, which is Northern California, of course, as Disneyland is in Southern California in Anaheim. So we have the option of driving or flying. Some of our friends drive, and some of us fly.
Right.
I prefer to fly. So you're looking at 7 to 8 hours driving from where we are. I can only last about 3 hours in a car. I don't love road trips. I'm not going to lie. One time we drove as a family I wasn't driving. I was like 11. We drove to Colorado to visit family. It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
I think my parents both at the end of that was like, we're probably never doing that again.
Yeah.
So it's not in my blood. We don't love road trips. So we choose to fly because it is like legit a 55-minute flight.
Yeah.
And so once you experience it once, it is really hard to go back to driving. I totally get it. If you like the freedom of driving and stopping when you want, I completely understand.
Oh, yeah, it definitely has its pros.
Yes, we just prefer flying just because you can knock it out really quick and it's done in less than an hour. So we were, of course, super nervous because this is our first time bringing a baby on a flight.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about all the stories I've been on. I travel for work once in a while. I used to travel a lot more. So I've been on plenty of planes where you're like, oh, the screaming baby. We didn't want to be those people, and you can't control it. Now we've got a lot of sympathy for those folks that experienced that. But Caitlin was clutch, fed Maddie right when we got on board, right when we started to take off.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped with her ears.
Yeah.
And it knocked her out. She slept, I think, the entire time, right?
She was amazing. Like absolutely amazing.
Yeah, she was really good.
And I also wanted to preface this that if we are mentioning someone else, Caleb's mom came with us on this
trip. Sorry. Yes.
So I wanted to touch on that because it was so nice having her there because we were all in the same row, which is awesome.
Yes.
And then again, it was one of those things where when I was prepping, like getting everything ready for Maddie, like she was just sitting with her Mimi, like just looking out the window of the plane. Like she was just so engaged with like looking at everything.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. What I was going to say, it was such a nice experience because we had that help, the extra set of hands, even before we got in the flight. So my mom boarded before us by, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 people.
Yeah.
And so by the time we went on, and she's like, hey, I already wiped all the seats down, like, with alcohol wipes, and I wiped the seatbelts. So it was like so nice to be like, oh my gosh, we could sit down, and we handed Maddie over, and we got our bags set. So that was amazing. If you guys can swing it, if your, parents can come, or some friends or, uncle and aunts, whatever. If someone can come on your first couple of trips just to help out, just because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're going to have, we absolutely needed an extra set of hands. Also, it's just fun to have people around. It's
so
fun to go with family. It's fun to go with friends. So it's not just to help.
And some of the memories that we get, oh my gosh.
100%.
So amazing.
So really fun. So if you can arrange that, totally do it because it was a blast. Okay. So after landing in Long Beach, after Maddie had her first amazing flight, we took an Uber XL. We have graduated, Caitlin, from the Uber X to Uber XL. You
guys, we needed to because not only did we have like 17 bags between us and Caleb's mom, plus the pack and play, plus the stroller,
it was
plus
a lot.
The car seat,
I'm kidding.
The
guy
baby.
literally made a joke. He said, you just forgot the furniture because he made it like we brought the whole house. And also, he was kind of an odd guy. So we'll talk about that in a second. But we did take an Uber XL. Like I mentioned, what was I going to say about that? Yeah. Oh, we originally booked a Turo.
Yes.
It's gonna be my first time ever using this service. So it's
like a rental car.
And then we were gonna do a little bit of exploring, and I'm like, you know what? This is silly. If I end up using it just to drive to the hotel and park it and pay for parking, all the hotels down there charge for parking, and then drive it back. That is a very, very expensive
plus gas
Uber, essentially. Yeah, you have to gas it up, you have to wash it, and so I was like, this is gonna be too much work. So a little nervous to have a random person drive us, but it worked out. This guy was nice enough. I will say he did ask us, he's like, oh, how old's your daughter? And I was like, oh, 6 months. He's like, oh, you guys are, basically said you guys aren't going to have a good time. That's too much for her. She's going to be overstimulated. I have 6 kids. You should know better. And I was like, oh, okay.
It was really awkward. I remember looking at Caleb's mom being like,
and I was like, do I push this? Do I tell him, like, guy, we've been here a million times. It doesn't matter if and I was like, whatever, dude, I'm not even going to send. So he was nice enough. He ended up talking a lot. I think he was just opinionated and wanted to share that with us. But he drove safe. That was nice.
It was great.
Yeah. So we showed up to our favorite hotel in Anaheim, and that is the Westin.
Oh my gosh, you guys. It was so good.
We are absolutely not sponsored. We paid full freight.
Yep.
We love it that much that we're just going to say that we love it. We pay full fare, and we like the hotel a lot. This is 10, 15-ish minute walk right down the road from the Pixar Place Hotel. This is the newer renovated hotel.
Yeah, so basically if you are in DCA and you're looking at the Incredicoaster, the hotel directly behind the Incredicoaster, it's like the white with like the green, I almost said ceiling. The green roof, that is the Westin. So again, you are basically walking past the Disneyland Hotel through that little security that leads you to downtown Disney. That was our walk every morning, which was very convenient because our friends who were staying on Harbor got stuck in an hour-long security line on Harbor.
It's a joke. Harbor security has been a mess. Honestly, the one we were using, I heard turn into a mess later in the day, but Harbor consistently is so stinking busy, and they really need to figure that out. But anyways, we love this hotel. So we checked into our room, which they were kind enough to upgrade us.
I know.
So we got a park view. They called it a park view. If I would have paid for it, I would have been maybe a little disappointed. It looked into the sorry, how do I explain this? It looked into like the entrance of the hotel. If you look to the left, you can see the park. So it was awesome.
There was like a balcony that you could go out on.
Yes, we had a balcony.
You could see the Guardians, like almost said the Guardians show.
The Guardians show. The Guardians building. So you can totally see the park, but you just kind of have to turn your head a little bit. It was really nice. And again, like I mentioned, I can stop singing the praises. We love this hotel. It's always clean. I'm a clean freak. I've got a little bit of OCD when it comes to that. And the rooms are always just sparkling clean. Amazing amenities. They have an amazing gym if you're into that. They've got Peloton bikes in there, all that stuff. A great pool, great restaurants. We'll have to get into that in a second. And again, the walking, you're mostly on Disney property. So you leave the Westin property, walk down, and right when you cross that street, you're technically on Disney property because they own that side of the road.
It's like
right
by the Pixar Place Hotel.
Yes, so it's lined with lights. It's very safe, very well lit, very well manicured. It's just a nice experience. Versus Harbor, which is it's turning into a not so fun experience because it's kind of starting to get a little shady in certain
areas,
parts. In certain parts, not all parts. But anyways, love the thing we stayed in. What's it called?
Love
a hotel.
The thing.
So now we started that unpacking process. It was a ton of stuff. It was a lot of work. It was hours of work. Maddie was snoozing while we did this. And we also were starving. We skipped lunch because our flight left at like noon.
Yeah.
And I went down to Puesto, which is the like taco restaurant down near the lobby.
Yeah.
It is delicious. We have actually been here once before, actually, with our friends over at Make It Magical, Clayton and Emily. We met them down in the Bay Area for a movie, and they ended up getting something else, but I got some tacos from Puesto.
Yeah.
They're stinking expensive, but I will tell you they are delicious.
And their guac.
Oh my gosh.
And their chips.
I'll just tell you it was like, I think it was like $70 for 3 tacos and chips and guac.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
No, maybe
God.
it was like 60 something, $70. It's very expensive. It was really good though.
Which Emily and Clayton, if you guys are listening, which I'm assuming you guys are listening, we need to go to Puesto. We need to go to
Caitlin was like, I don't care how much it costs.
It was so good, you guys. Which
Yeah.
I know, okay, off topic, but it was delicious.
It was
and
very
again,
good.
it was so nice and convenient to have it right next to the hotel.
Yes.
So,
All right, let's move on to our evening. So we had reservations at Naples. And let me tell you.
we've never been there.
Never been there.
Mm-mm.
It's been years. I mean, we've been going to the park since we were kids. Never been to Naples. And I think I had the impression I couldn't eat there for some reason. And it was because I can't have the pizza. That's what it was. So I think one time I looked at the menu and said, oh, I can't have gluten-free pizza. I'm not going to eat here.
Which, again, in your defense, that's what they're known for there. So that's probably why we haven't done it.
Yeah. But let me tell you, I got the gluten-free pasta and it was so good.
It was delicious.
It was very rich, but it was very good. It was the carbonara, which again, first time I've ever gotten it. They put eggs in this puppy and pasta, and it was good. Bacon bits, some peas.
Yeah. And then I think Caleb's mom and I split. It was like what was it? It had broccoli, chicken, and like chili flakes with like a white sauce.
I forget the name. Some Italian
salad.
name. You got a salad.
Honestly, overall, as Caleb mentioned, it was very good, very rich. But just overall, the ambiance outside, like it was stunning. Like it was just, it was really fun.
So nice.
And then after that, we did some shopping up in town.
Up in town?
Up and down downtown Disney. And that is truly, honestly, one of my favorite things to do, especially when you're starting the trip, because you have that like butterfly feeling of like, yay,
your trip starting. Yeah.
It was so fun. But I wanted to dive into kind of what we did that night because we got a couple things.
We did. Let me start off by saying we did want to eat at Centrico, which is the new Mexican restaurant. There's a couple actually, but this is one of them right in the center of downtown Disney. But the walk-up wait looked very, very long, and their reservations are booked for months.
And we had tacos for lunch.
Yeah. I wouldn't have minded getting tacos again.
I want to go back to what's it called?
Puesto. And also, we didn't get dessert because we ate a very, very big dinner.
I know.
We ate very late.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted was more more cream after my cream pasta. Just a lot of cream going on. That's too much cream for the stomach.
So, regards to shopping, we first went into the home store. It's always so fun to go in there to see what's new. We love
that home
having
store.
Little like Disney elements around the house. So again, super fun to do. Next up, we went into World of Disney. Again, there you got to tell the story about the shirt. And Maddie.
So this place is dangerous, number one, for us because we'll spend lots of money here if you give us the opportunity.
Who doesn't? It's World of Disney.
Who doesn't? Lots of people spending the cash in there. But we were walking. You guys, my mom and Caitlin were down the store a little bit, and I was with Maddie.
Yeah.
I don't know, you guys were looking for a shirt.
Yeah.
Very specific shirt. And so I was like, I'm going to take Maddie and look around at the toys. So we're looking around at stuffed animals and toys and stuff. And we are walking. And again, Maddie's 6 months. She doesn't talk yet. She doesn't really, whatever. Verbally, if I can think of the word, verbally like indicate things. This was the first time I heard her. She went, and like told me to like almost stop and reached her hand out for something. I was like, what do you want? And she was pointing at like this little blue shirt. It was like a Mickey Mouse American flag shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you want that? I take her over to it. She starts touching it and she does this little scratch thing. She likes to scratch everything. She picks it up. I'm telling you, it's the first time I've seen this. I'm not kidding. She picks it up off the rack. She palms the little shirt, picks it up, starts carrying it around, and then drops it. And eventually, I pick it up. And I'm like, "Do you want this?" And she's like, all happy and squealing and laughing. So I take it over to Caitlin. And I'm like, "Really? It's a really ugly blue. I'm not gonna lie. It was very.
It's like a bright blue.
It was very blue.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, "Are you sure, Maddie?" And of course, she's a baby. So I was like, "Do you really want this?" And so I think I forgot about it. I totally would have bought it for her, but I set it back and I was like, "Let's think about it." I forgot about it. I feel terrible because she loved that shirt.
I know, and I'm so sad because they don't have it on Shop Disney.
They don't have it on Shop Disney. You know what? Maybe if one of our friends, if you're going to the parks, maybe I'll buy it for her and you can ship it to her if you're willing to do that.
You'll buy it.
I'll buy it.
She's very upset. I'm just kidding.
She ignored me for days afterwards. No, so maybe we'll get it for her. She could have worn it on Memorial Day and 4th of July. So maybe we'll grab it for her. It was not going to fit. It's going to be way too big for her. But anyways, she loved that shirt. I didn't buy it. I'm a terrible dad. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
We ended up spoiling her. She was spoiled.
This girl was spoiled.
Let me tell you, spoiler alert, we actually played with her bubble wand downstairs today, and she's still not sure about it.
She warmed up a little bit towards the end.
Towards the end. I think she gets a little scared of like the music's very loud.
It's so loud.
It's very loud.
Like,
yeah. And there's bubbles just around the neighborhood. I'm sure
so
our neighbors were like looking outside like, what the heck's going on?
I know, but like, oh gosh, it makes me so happy.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
We also went to Curl Surf. This place, let me tell you, I was the one to actually buy something.
It's
I
so
bought
awesome in there.
a sweatshirt there. Stupid expensive. It's very expensive. This place is like way overpriced, but I love their stuff. I've actually bought. Go ahead.
You get your Magic Key discount.
You do get a Magic Key discount there. So if you have a Magic Key, make sure you show them that because you'll get like, 10, 15% off. And their stuff's really high quality. I've had sweatshirts there for years.
Yeah.
And they last forever. So
highly recommend.
Bought a sweatshirt. Caitlin almost bought one, didn't end up getting something.
Yeah, they didn't have my size.
Didn't have your size. My mom ended up getting some stance socks from my dad, I think. And overall, we love that place. So don't skip it. Definitely go into Curl Surf.
Hopefully that wasn't like a gift.
Well, spoiler alert.
Sorry.
Sorry. All right. to wrap this up, it was a good experience overall.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good time.
We did.
But I'll say this. Downtown Disney, it's late. Downtown Disney is looking pretty interesting right now. Almost half of it is under construction.
Yeah.
The entire west side of it. So if you don't know directionally what that is, if the old ESPN zone, the AMC Theater, which is now down, that's all under construction. You've got Din Tai Fung coming. You've got this new, I forget the name, but it's like a multi-restaurant building, something marketplace or something that's coming in. So tons of construction. You've got the new stage over there and play area, but it looks very disjointed right now.
Mm-hmm.
We like it. We kind of like the direction it's going. It's kind of a little higher end, it feels like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I would say, like, again, take this, and I don't want it to sound like we don't like what's going on, because we're super excited for all the new things. What I told Caleb when we got back is, I'm like, okay, I love Downtown Disney. Like, it's one of our favorite things to do. It's like literally tradition. It's that we do it on the first night. It's one of those things right now where it's so different. There's so much construction going on. There's so much new, like that stage.
Marceline Market just closed.
That's closed. Centrico, that it doesn't feel like Downtown Disney anymore. And that's kind of like sad to me, because it's like what we know. But again, with that said, I'm so excited for all the new stuff. Centrico looks absolutely beautiful. Paseo looked amazing. I cannot wait for Din Tai Fung. Like, literally, like, the building itself is gigantic.
It's cool, yeah.
So there's a lot of things to look forward to. And again, what's the bakery called that's going in? Porto's.
And that's going in on the other side. But yes, eventually they're going to tear down the old La Brea building where, what's it called? The
Earl of Sandwich
is in. Poor Earl of Sandwich has to move again.
Yeah.
They're going to be tearing that down pretty soon to make room for Porto's. And then Earl of Sandwich is finding a new home somewhere. I forget where. But anyways, that whole place is going to be just crazy. Mm-hmm. Just like musical chairs of people moving and moving out. I mean, there's no more sprinkles. That was one of our favorite dessert spots.
Such a bummer.
That's gone. So anyways, it's a lot of change. We'll get used to it. We sound like old people like, oh, don't change anything.
Yeah.
But it's
we're excited
different.
for it.
Yeah.
I just can't wait for it to be done. Like, I'm ready for it.
And I will say this. It's your money. You do what you want to do with it. If you're going to stay at the Disneyland Hotel, I would not pay extra for the premium view, which is Downtown Disney, just because all of it's under construction. You're not going to be looking at much.
Honestly, I find it very bizarre that's their premium view. I would think that the premium view is like the villa pool area.
That's
so much more beautiful.
It's not their premium view. It's their like middle tier. So there's like parking lot, tree view. There's the garden/pool view in the middle, and then premium view is the Downtown Disney. So it's a tiered system.
I'd love to see there. It's so pretty there.
Yes, we did spend some time, again, on the Disneyland Hotel property. Mm-hmm. That place is gorgeous. I've never stayed there. Caitlin stayed there when she was a little girl.
Yeah.
I would love to stay there one day, but that's it. Let's not go down the tangent. I will talk about it all night.
Oh my gosh.
We have to wrap it up.
Definitely stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, definitely, like I mentioned, stay tuned for next week. We're going to dive into our 3 full days at Disneyland. It is full of just memories and just the happiest moments ever. Like, we cannot wait to dive in.
And we slapped a half day at the end there and did something fun. You guys, on Monday morning.
There was definitely some tears when we got home.
Oh,
and
lots
happy
of tears.
tears.
Caitlin was Caitlin was a mess for like 2 days after our trip.
I feel like it didn't hit me until I got home. So definitely stay tuned, because we're so excited to talk about it.
All right, thank you so much for listening. You can find us over on Instagram and Threads at Market House Podcast. Make sure to follow us over there for pictures from the park and exciting news and announcements. Consider leaving a review on Apple Podcast and Spotify, both a huge help to the show. Remember, we have a Patreon. It would be awesome if you could join us over there, markethousepodcast.com/support. Your support means the world. Thank you so much to our supporters over there. Remember to use our Getaway Today link for your future trip bookings. You can check out the episode details for that link and use code MARKETHOUSE10 to save an additional $10 on your next vacation. Join us next week for another episode. It's been fun. It's been filled with cream pasta.
Bye.